Well, hello, Radiant Church. Pastor Jeremy here again with another 5-minute devotion. This one is from Psalm 18, verse 6. Let me read. In my distress, I called upon the Lord. To my God, I cried for help. From his temple, he heard my voice, and my cry to him reached his ears. One of the great yearnings of any human heart is to be known, to be noticed, to matter to someone. And one of the ways that we let people know that they matter is by paying attention to them, by listening to them. One of the most emotionally difficult things to experience is if someone is just completely indifferent to us. In fact, if someone's angry at you, that's uncomfortable, but it's not nearly as excruciating as when someone just doesn't even care if we're alive. And how do we send that message? What happens in a lot of human conversation is you're talking to someone, and let's say you're just bearing your soul to someone, and you're talking about something you're going through and you're struggling, and the response is, "Oh, well, you have it easy. How'd you like to be me? Let me tell you about my life." You know, they have some sort of story, and it shows that they don't care about your pain. They're more happy to talk about their own pain. Or how about this? Have you ever been telling a story to someone, and it's clear they're not listening? They're much more interested in what's going on social media. They drift away from eye contact with you, and they're just scrolling through their phone. Or it could show up other ways. They might be indifferent to you because you're telling a story and they just interrupt you in the middle of the conversation because they're much more interested in what they have to say to you than anything you would have to say to them. These are things that bother us. These are things that hurt. And here's the wonderful thing. God never does that. He never does that. This is what this psalm is telling us. David is crying out to God in his pain and his anguish, and God hears him. And when David says that he's crying out here, it doesn't mean a whimper. It's not just a soft whimper or something. It's a scream is what the word means. It means to scream. So he's coming to God with a full-on meltdown. And what God doesn't do is he says, "Okay, David, calm down. You're a little over-emotional right now. Go get things worked out, and then come back when you can not be such a basket case." No, David comes in his worst form, his most meltdown mode, crying out in distress, and God hears him. And so the reminder to us is this, and the thing I want you to focus on today is to remember that God is here. God is listening to you. When you come to him in prayer, when you come to him in distress, he is near. He listens to you. He hears. And look what happens when we hear. Look what he says later on. So this is a long psalm, Psalm 18. And a little further along in verse 16 through 19, he says this. After the Lord heard David's cry, this is God's response. He says, "He sent from on high. He took me. He drew me out of many waters. He rescued me from my strong enemy and from those who hated me. For they were too mighty for me. They confronted me in the day of my calamity. But the Lord was my support. He brought me out into a broad place. He rescued me. Why? Because he delighted in me." God hears you not just because he wants to be a good example and be a good listener. He hears you because he delights in you. So come to the Lord today and pray. It doesn't have to be the most eloquent or put together prayer. Come to the Lord with your prayers, not just of your prayers of pain, but whatever they are, and know that God will hear you. Blessings on you.